Okay, the few questions we have for governance processes and the role of internal auditors in governance. The internal audit department should contribute to the organization's governance processes by evaluating the processes through which of the following. As we have discussed, internal auditor's role is to just evaluate the processes. We do not design, draft or implement governance processes. Our role is to evaluate what? Whether ethics and values are being promoted? Yes. Correct. Whether the system of performance evaluation exists, whether there is an effective organizational performance management and accountability system is there. This is part of our evaluation. Then, risk and control information is communicated. This is what we will evaluate. And activities of the external and internal auditors and management are coordinated. So, this is true as well, because internal and external auditors, their work is coordinated in such a way that they help each other in discharging the responsibility of governance. So, the internal audit department should contribute to the organization's governance processes by evaluating the processes through which ethics and values are promoted, effective organizational performance management system, risk and controls are communicated, activities of the external and internal auditors and management coordinators. All these activities, all these contribute to the organization's governance processes which the internal auditors evaluate. So D is the right answer. And D it is. Next, directors, management, external auditors, internal auditors all play important roles in creating proper control processes. Control processes is a part of governance. It is not itself governance. It is the result of governance. Governance is not itself control. Controls come out of governance. Senior management is primarily, when we say senior management, we are talking about the Chief Executive Officer, CEO. Senior management is primarily responsible for reviewing the reliability and integrity of financial and operating information. Let us just discuss this later. Let us move in the reverse order. If we just click the correct answer, we will lose interest in other options. So let us discuss in reverse order option D first. Senior management is primarily responsible for implementing and monitoring controls designed by the board of directors. For God's sake, board of directors are sitting at the top. They just have the role of oversight. They do not get themselves involved in drafting the control system. This is incorrect. Senior management is primarily responsible for ensuring that external and internal auditors oversee the administration of the system of risk management and control processes. Again, this is incorrect. The role of the internal auditors is just to evaluate risk management processes, control processes and governance. We just don't oversee, we evaluate. Overseeing is the responsibility of the directors, senior men. So this is incorrect. B, establishing and maintaining organizational culture. Senior management is primarily responsible for establishing and maintaining organizational culture. We are talking about the Chief Executive Officer. We are responsible for evaluating the effectiveness of system of internal controls, governances and risk management processes. Establishing and maintaining organizational culture, this is the responsibility of the senior management. Senior management will establish and maintain an organizational culture, and within this culture, a system of check and balance, controls, governance, risk management system would be effective. So that makes sense. It appears to be the correct option. Why not A? Reviewing the reliability and integrity of financial and operational information. Review and reliability of information This is the responsibility of the internal auditors. Again, this is incorrect. Internal auditors are responsible for evaluating the adequacy and effectiveness of control, risk management and governance. So this is again incorrect. So the correct option is that senior management is responsible for establishing and maintaining an organization culture, which is part of governance. So that makes B to be the correct option. Moving on to the next question. Which of the following statements regarding corporate governance is not correct? Which of the following statement regarding corporate governance is not correct? Corporate control mechanisms include internal and external mechanism. It's a correct statement. There is internal audit, there is external audit. So corporate governance does have internal and external dynamic. It's a true statement. So first is the true statement. We are looking for the statement that is not true. B. The internal auditor of a company has more responsibility than the board of directors for the company's corporate governance. Incorrect. We are not primarily, internal auditors are not primarily responsible for the governance in an organization. The responsibility lies on board of directors. They are primarily responsible. This is an incorrect statement. So, A is correct, true. B is incorrect. The dilution of shareholders' wealth resulting from the employee stock options or employee stock bonuses is an accounting issue rather than the corporate governance issue. Shareholders in an organization have certain shares, like we are 3 shareholders, for example, A, B and C. A holds 10% shares, B holds 15% shares and C holds maybe 12% shares. Sometimes companies, in order to motivate their employees, their managers, companies issue share options to the company employees. Employees become shareholders. When employees become shareholders, they will have more interest in putting more effort for the success of the company. Right? But the drawback of this is that the power of A, B and C as shareholders will reduce because now there are more shareholders. Right? There are more shareholders now. The extent of ABC is the power, the concentration of holding in ABC, it would reduce. So the dilution of the shareholders' wealth resulting from employee stock option, that certain employees have been issued shares, or employee stock bonuses, it's an accounting issue rather than the corporate governance. Yes, reduction in the share value, the concentration of existing shareholders, this is more or less an accounting issue rather than corporate governance is running the business so as the organization achieve its objective. Reduction in the wealth of the shareholders, when such shares are issued to employees, it's more or less an accounting issue rather than the issue of governing the business. It's something good when we issue shares to employees in the form of bonus stock or in the form of stock options. They feel more motivated to work in the organization. So it's more or less an accounting issue rather than the issue of governance. D. The compensation scheme for management is a part of corporate control mechanism. Absolutely. Who should be paid what? This is also a part of your corporate governance. So A, C and D are the part of corporate governance. But internal auditors, they do not have more responsibility for corporate governance than the directors. Directors are primarily irresponsible. So this is basically an incorrect statement. We're looking for something that is not correct. Next, the basic principle of governance, running a business and taking it to the chosen direction so that the organization can achieve its objective. This is governance. So a basic governance is what? In the reverse order, separation of governance process from promoting an ethical culture in the organization. A basic principle of governance is separation of the governance processes. Governance processes are separate and ethical culture is separate. Incorrect. Incorrect. Ethics and governance are a part of the same whole. This is incorrect. Governance, culture, ethics, they are intertwined. They are all part of a single entity. We can't separate governance processes and the ethical culture. They are the part of governance. Incorrect. Holding the board, senior management and the internal audit activity accountable for its effectiveness. Board is responsible. Yes. Senior management is responsible. Internal auditor is not responsible for its effectiveness. Internal auditor evaluates the effectiveness of governance. Internal auditor is not responsible to make internal control effective. It is the job of the management. We evaluate whether the governance system is effective or not. We are not primarily responsible. So this is incorrect as well. Yes, board and senior management are responsible, but we are not. Exclusive use of external auditors to provide assurance about the governance processes. Only external auditor provide assurance about the governance. This is again incorrect. Internal auditors are also part of evaluating the effectiveness of governance, not just external auditor. A basic principle of governance is the assessment of the governance process by an independent internal audit activity. Yes, we as internal auditors, we assess how effective the system of governance is operating. We as internal auditors, we assess and make appropriate recommendations for improving the governance processes. This is what our role should be. That makes A to be the correct option. Next question, number 5 for governance. Which of the following is most likely an internal audit role in a less structured governance process? Less structured means there is not a very defined, refined or developed governance process. Maybe it's a small organization, owner managed business. Alright, so what we are looking for, which of the following is most likely an internal audit role? So what do you think the role of the internal auditor in a small organization? A. Playing a consulting role in optimizing the governance practices and structure. We are talking about a less structured governance process, maybe a small organization where we do not have a very well-developed system of governance. So we can advise, we can facilitate. This is what we do. But we want most likely role to be played as an internal auditor in a small size organization where governance processes are less structured. Right? So we can play a consulting role, but that is done in a more developed, mature organization. We consult, we facilitate, yes. But that is true for a more structured organization where the organization has reached a certain level of development. Right? So this is not what we do in a smaller organization. No, never. We do not design, we do not draft, we do not implement. This is very wrong. Designing specific governance processes, absolutely no. We can't do that. Providing advice about basic risks to the organization. Now we are left with option C and D. Evaluating the effectiveness, let us discuss this, of specific governance processes. We are talking about a less structured governance process, a small, a medium organization where governance processes are basic, rudimentary, elementary. How can we evaluate their effectiveness when the control processes are very weak? We already know they are weak. How can we evaluate their effectiveness? Because organization is not mature or developed enough. Apparently it is what we do. Yes. That's what we do. Evaluate the effectiveness of specific governance processes. Yes, we do. But this is an organization where the system is less structured. It is not a developed organization. That's why this is not appropriate. Then what we do here, we provide advice about basic risks to the organization. What are the basic risks an organization is facing, so that they take this information and then construct a system of internal controls, refine their governance processes. This is what we can do. Advise, yes, that's what we do. Advise, facilitation, consulting. That's our role. So this is what we can do in an organization that is comparatively at an earlier stage of development in corporate governance. All right, next question we have. Ensuring effective organizational performance management and accountability. There must be an effective performance management and accountability. Is the most directly the proper function of what? Risk management is different. Risk management is identification of events that can put an organization in a situation where we may not be able to achieve our objectives. We are talking about performance management. We are talking about accountability. Who should do what? How you have performed your work. Quality assurance program, apparently it looks like a good option, but quality assurance program is normally implemented on organizational unit. We are talking about an overall system of performance management and a responsibility system where people are made responsible to report to certain individuals. This is not correct as well. Why not control? Control themselves come out of governance. Right? We are talking about a system of performance management, accountability, who is responsible for what? Right? So governance, a system of governance would result in control systems, control processes. Governance is directly responsible for ensuring effective organizational performance management and accountability. It is a job of governance to ensure effective organizational performance management, who should perform what and who is accountable to whom. This is the basic function of governance. B is the right answer. Next. Which of the following is not a role of internal audit activity in best practice governance activities? What is not our role? Discuss areas of significant risk. Yes, we can discuss area of significant risk with the management. Correct. Monitor compliance with the corporate code of conduct. Has the organization following the corporate code of conduct? The employees are following the code. Monitor compliance. Yes, this is what we do. We support the board in enterprise-wide risk assessment. We'll discuss this in detail in our next chapter. We support the board in their enterprise-wide risk assessment. This is our right role in governance and risk management. But look at option A. Ensure the timely implementation of audit recommendations. We just give recommendations. We give recommendation to the management, to the board. It is the responsibility of the management and the board to make sure that recommendations are implemented. We are just responsible for reporting on timely basis. We are just responsible for giving recommendations. Implementation of the recommendation, it is the job of the management. It is the job of the board of directors. This is not our job. So guys, these were some questions related to governances and our role as internal auditor in governance. Yes, it is a very important topic, but if seen and read wisely, understood well, then it is manageable, surely.